Hid this for 15 years, the shocking truth that cost him everything. My older brother, Mark, was my hero. He was the golden child, the one everyone loved. Valedictorian captain of the football team. And now, a celebrated architect, Liam, with just his shadow. Always a step behind, always trying to catch up. But I never resented him. How could I? He was perfect. He even saved my life once. When I was 10, our family went on a hiking trip. I, being the clumsy kid I was, slipped on a wet rock near a cliff edge. I remember the world tilting, the sky and ground swapping places. Then, a strong hand grabbed my arm, yanking me back from the brink. It was Mark. He pulled me to safety, his face pale with fear. "I've got you, little brother," he'd said, his voice shaking. From that day on, he wasn't just my brother, he was my guardian angel. That single moment defined our relationship for the next 15 years. It was a debt I felt I could never repay. So, I did everything for him. I ran his errands, covered for his mistakes, and even took the fall for a car accident he caused in college. Whatever Mark needed, I was there. My parents praised our bond, calling my devotion loyalty. I just saw it as paying back the life I owed him. Then came the inheritance. Our grandfather, a man who saw through facades, passed away. He left his entire fortune, a surprisingly large sum, to me. Just me. The will was read in a stuffy lawyer's office, the air thick with my family's shock. Mark's smile was tight, strained. "Congrats, Leon," he managed to say, clapping me on the shoulder. No one deserves it more. But his eyes told a different story. They were cold, calculating. Debt. That night, he came to my apartment. He talked about his new architectural project, a groundbreaking design that was over budget. He spoke of his dreams, his ambitions, the pressure he was under. He never asked for money directly, but the implication hung in the air like a guillotine. He was my hero. He'd saved my life. I wrote him a check for almost the entire inheritance, leaving myself with just enough to get by. "Anything for you," Mark S. said, feeling a familiar warmth of purpose. A few weeks later, I was cleaning out my parents' attic, a place of forgotten memories and dust-covered treasures. I stumbled upon an old box labeled Family Trips. Inside were photo albums and a stack of home videos. I popped one into an old camcorder. It was the fateful hiking trip from 15 years ago. Awards. A younger, happier version of my family, laugh and walk along the trail. And then, it happened. The camera, held by my dad, focused on me and Mark near the cliff edge. We were wrestling, playfully at first. But then Mark shoved me. Hard. It wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate, forceful push. I saw myself stumble backward, my arms flailing as I went over the edge. Too. The camera shook violently as my dad dropped it, but the audio kept recording. I could hear my dad screaming my name. Then, Mark's voice high-pitched with panic. He slipped. "Dad," he slipped. The lie was born in that very second. The world went silent. The attic, the dust, the scent of old paper, it all faded away. I replayed the tape. Again and again. The push. The fall. Lie. It was undeniable. Mark hadn't saved me. He had pushed me. His heroic act was nothing more than a desperate attempt to fix the disaster he created. For 15 years, my life had been built on a foundation of his guilt and my gratitude. A gratitude he'd cultivated, weaponized, and just recently cashed in on. The debt I felt I owed him was a fiction he had authored. The betrayal was a physical pain, sharp and suffocating. I felt the air leave my lungs, just like it must have on that cliffside. He hadn't saved me. He had almost ended me. And then he spent the next 15 years letting me thank him for it. My loyalty, my sacrifices, my money, it was all payment for a lie. He had taken everything. Not just the inheritance, but my very sense of self. My identity as the grateful younger brother was a sham. I walked out of that attic a different man. The shadow was gone, burned away by the harsh light of the truth. I went to Mark's office, the one I had paid for. He was standing over a blueprint, looking every bit the successful man he'd always pretended to be. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I just placed the old camcorder on his desk and pressed play. As the scene unfolded, the color drained from his face. The confident architect crumbled, replaced by the scared 12-year-old boy on the mountain. Liam, I was a kid. I was jealous. I never meant for. His words trailed off, hollow and meaningless. He couldn't even look at me. Chitu, Mark, I said, my voice eerily calm. If you pushed me, and you let me worship you for it. You tried to apologize, to offer the money back, to fix it. But some things can't be fixed. It wasn't about the money anymore. It was about the 15 years he had stolen from me. The truth had cost him my respect, my love, our brotherhood. It had cost him everything that truly mattered. Turned and walked away, leaving him alone with the flickering image of his betrayal. For the first time in my life, I wasn't walking in his shadow. I was walking into my own light, finally free. The cost of the truth was devastating, but the cost of the lie had been my entire life. And I was finally taken aback.